have the gauntlets on. Let's get back to the Desert Colossus. At the oasis here in the desert, I keep almost calling it the Desert Resort because, oh, come on, black and white. Yeah. At nighttime, if you come here as an adult and manage to get enough time where you're not being hit by levers. Okay. You can get the 91st Gold Skulltula token. I am losing my... I hate these levers so much. When I say it like that, calling them levers sounds like a slur. The next thing here as an adult is the magic bean that we planted as a kid. First place it'll take us is up here. I think and hope. I think I got off at the wrong stop. I hate when this happens. Okay. Getting off at the actual right stop and changing it to be nighttime again. There's a Gold Skulltula up here. There we go. 92 tokens. We are in the single-digit numbers of, like, Skulltulas remaining to obtain, which is pretty nice. But wait, there's more with this magic bean plant. Eventually, after it passes over this hill, it will go underneath here, and as soon as it starts going up, damn, oh, I messed it up. I almost saved it somehow. We can ride this to get on top of that pillar, but you need to jump off with the right timing. The issue is if you don't time it properly, you land back on the magic bean plant, which is not what you want. There's no ceremony to it. This is our last heart piece. There we go. Only 2 more heart containers to collect, and coincidentally, only 2 more, like, major dungeons to clear, so... that tells you how we're getting the rest of them. We're done with heart pieces. Now let's go in here so I can stop dealing with levers for the rest of my life. Can ignore those pots and ignore these armos and ignore the hole in the ceiling, because now that we have the silver gauntlets, we can push this hole. This hole? This stone into a hole. Hopefully. I don't know, I can't see past it. Spoilers, there's a hole there. Anyway. Doing that brings us in here, and of course there's a Beamos. I kind of like and dislike that your, like, equipped C button items change between being an adult and being a kid. I know why. It's because a lot of your adult items can't be used as a kid and vice versa, so it just doesn't want you to have them equipped. Even though the game totally can handle, like, letting you use, like, Deku sticks as an adult, for an example, but no, that's stupid, because why would you anyway? They're as strong as the Master Sword. Anyway, first thing we're going to do in this room is go through the door on the left. I was right. Alright. There's a Wolfos in here, because it totally makes sense that you would fight a Wolfos as an adult and a Stalfos as a child. Jump down into the sand pit. Very good. I didn't even need to kill him, honestly. He was out of the way, but he had it coming. There's a Triforce symbol, which means we need to play Zelda's Lullaby. Which will make a chest appear, and we can long shot over to it. I just want to say, this idea for a dungeon is so cool. Having this game revolve around, like, 2 eras, where in one you're, like, a 10-year-old kid, and then the other you're a 17-year-old kid. The idea of having one section that only one can go through leading into the section for the other is really cool. But you're gonna be seeing the Adult Link section of this is much longer than the, like, Child Link section, where realistically I could have made the Child Link section of this dungeon one video, and it wouldn't have been odd at all. And the only reason I didn't is just to maintain consistency, because that makes my brain happy, but no, I don't know. I feel like It's such a cool concept, and they just do so little with it. People tell you you need the dungeon item from the next dungeon to get the silver rupee. They're lying to you. But you do need to do something dangerous to get it either way. You can jump to get it, but there is also a place in this room where you can long shot to get it just by like getting onto that climbable wall. But it's probably gonna have to be from farther back in the room. And of course I was in the path of that rock. Why wouldn't I have been? Yeah, as you can see, that is directly in our path. So, yeah, Link is immune to boulders when he is flying. He does go into kind of like a Superman flying pose when he uses the long shot to grab onto something, which I think is funny. There's, like, enemies that you wouldn't think are grabbable by the long shot that are. Like, like-likes are an example. You can grab onto a like-like, and it looks so goofy whenever Link is, like, flying over to them. See, and this is definitely the dungeon where they got the most use out of silver rupees, but there is also this, and we want to play the Song of Time because it's a time block. There we go. I remember how to play it. And I definitely don't have my cheat sheet right in front of me. That'll move that time block to that other alcove with the silver rupee and allow us to get bonked into here to get our 93rd gold Skulltula token. Link, you're looking so respectful with your sword and your flashing lights. Cool. Anyway, yeah, that's all there is in this room other than the door that we opened, so let's move on. In here, run forward, get the chest. Get out. A like falls from the ceiling. I don't want to deal with a like any more than you probably want to deal with a like, and I'll pretend I didn't just see those rocks fall from the ceiling too. Who needs rocks? I got knives. Back in here now, we can actually open this locked door. And more flying pots, and a like, of course. Can't escape them for long. Oh. The big Goron sword kills them in one hit. I love this thing. I'm so happy I have the big Goron sword. It's so fun to use. You can play baseball with the flying pots. There's just so much cool. There's so much to love about it. Oh, it's awesome. We can also do that. This room always reminds me of Wendy's because I'm pretty sure in the Game Grumps playthrough, Ego Raptor talk. Why did I say his name like that? Aaron Hansen talks about Wendy's in the Game Grumps playthrough of Ocarina of Time in this room. Yeah, there is a floor master in here. This one might reform, honestly, with how long I'm taking. Never mind. Yeah, you can only see it if you use the Lens of Truth, but luckily it drops magic jars, so we gained more magic than we lost by doing that. And there's this mirror with the sun shining directly on it, which is pretty convenient. We can use it to melt these sun faces. God, you think they'd like it a little more. All right. That is the real one. If you go further to the next one, it'll just make another floor master appear, which is stupid. Speaking of stupid, look, I had to open it because it's going to drive me insane if there is an unopened treasure chest on the map. Like, I have to. And this one has a recovery heart anyway, so we only lost a quarter of a heart for that. So who cares? All right. And now we're back in the room with the giant goddess statue, which is cool. The Armos next to that door is real. But it's worth noting that there is a hookshot panel to actually get back up here if you fall. In this room, there is that hand that has a Triforce on it. This is another thing where people will say you need the dungeon item. No, you don't. I probably didn't even need a jump slash to get here. Zelda's Lullaby. That causes a chest to appear there, but that sound effect was pretty loud, so maybe you'd be able to like, reasonably tell that there's actually 2 of them. So a lot of this dungeon's puzzles revolve around sunlight. This is going to be another small key, by the way. So how does this temple work when, like, you come in here at nighttime? I wish they, like, made it so you actually could only do this temple during the day. Just because I think it would have been cool to have that little bit of continuity, even if it made the game worse to play overall, but nope, the sun is just always out when you're in here, which, granted, is sort of how it is for most of the dungeons in this game. They really do tend to make it so, like, for example, you always leave the water temple in the morning. That sort of thing, but yeah. Oh, look, another chest that probably has a shield if you lose your shield, because there have been likes up to this point. There's also a rusted switch we can mash down, which we'll get to. We'll get to the door that unbarred because it's right here. It's in the center of the room. But first, there's 2 torches, and I'm gonna use Din's Fire. I know we've barely had a use for fire arrows, and that's sad, but, like, look, it's not their fault that they're useless and outclassed by Din's Fire. I don't know. I could have lit both these torches with 1 arrow, so it would have been less expensive, but who actually cares is the question, and the answer, in my honest opinion, is not me. There we go, our dungeon map. Another thing we can do is climb the stairs on the side of the room that we got in here I lost that sentence, like, really quickly. Anyway, this side of the room that we, like, entered as young Link, we can just get over here normally. And we want to play the Scarecrow song. Even if Pierre cared if you played it as a kid, which, trust me, he doesn't like you, there's no way we could get over here as a kid to get this token. 94. Jeez, we are collecting these like they're nothing right now. You can also get up here to get an easier way to get up here if you don't want to have to deal with trying to target this tiny chest from the other hand with the long shot, but who cares? Another thing that I don't have written down in my notes, but I know about because everybody does, the nipples are long shotable for some reason. Yeah. Funny joke, Nintendo. As far as I know, they're still long shotable in the Nintendo 3DS version too, but I can't state that as a fact because I haven't tried it recently. Next room. Ooh, another block to push. I like pushing blocks. I like that even though they are extraordinarily heavy, they take equally as long as the smaller blocks do to push, and the smaller blocks still take the same amount of time to push even when you have the silver gauntlets. And geez, today, it really does sound like I would be great at Cinema Sins, doesn't it? Which is a very bad thing. There's not many, like, YouTube channels that I would outwardly express, like, explicit negativity towards, but, I am sorry to say one of them is Cinema Sins. What a terrible YouTube channel. Anyway, that creates an elevator that brings us back to the entrance, and hopefully it's on a timer and comes back down. It is, thank God. Yeah, we have a shortcut back there now to the, like, Colossus statue, which is cool. All right, we got our map, we got our compass. We're making good progress. I'm not giving the outro, even though it definitely sounds like I am. All right. Now, we're going to hookshot back up to the side of the room we initially came in on as an adult. There, I made that sentence work at least to make up for the last one not working at all. And there is a locked door at the very top of the stairs here. You can also see the boss room is literally right there. Don't really need to worry about this Beamos, who cares? This one, on the other hand, is going to be a problem because there are 3 Anubises in this room. Anubisi? Anubi? I don't like Anubi. I don't like that at all. Anyway, we have fire arrows. They cost less than Din's Fire. They still kill the Anubis instantly. There is a different way to do this, which I will be telling you about, but, like, whatever. We basically just killed all 3 for the price of 1 Din's Fire, which, like, I will take over any other way of doing that. However, over here, you'll see Navi does fly down there. If you look down, it's just the rupees from the Anubai that I killed, but you can play the Song of Time here. I really gotta start cutting out when I play these songs, don't I? It's a shame I'm not gonna, though. That will get this time block to appear, and once you press on the floor switch in here, that will cause a fire to appear in the center of the room. The time block essentially completes a circuit, so you can actually get the Anubis into the center of the room to go into that fire and kill themselves instantly, but I don't know. I found more satisfaction having a use for fire arrows. That is 0 from Kirby. That's not canon or anything, but, like, it's definitely 0 from Kirby, right? One sec. Okay, no, that's the right room. In this room, we have 4 Armos statues, and I'm going to tell you now, they will all come to life. Don't worry about that right now. Well, do worry about that, but worry about it in a safe way. Practice safe Armos pissing off of. Shoot that one to get it to step on that switch, which will unbar the door we are right in front of so we can walk in. There we go. And you can already tell probably by the setup of this room, we have another Iron Knuckle. And we're an adult now, so surely this is gonna be harder and not easier, right? Surely. Get up. All right. I think it's worth noting that Iron Knuckles first appeared in the Zelda 2, where they are notably the most difficult enemy to defeat in that game. And I was gonna say excluding the final boss, but no, the final boss is extremely easy. Anyway, the Big Oron Sword makes this a joke. Did he drop 3 rupees? Awesome. Anyway, they are, like, the most, I guess, iconic enemy from Zelda 2, because they're the enemy where you need to, like, duck and then not duck and hit them in the face and then hit them below the face and all that. It's pretty cool, but I think they were translated to be much, much cooler in Ocarina of Time. We'll fight another Iron Knuckle with the Master Sword if there is another Iron Knuckle. I'm not going to spoil that there's another Iron Knuckle. There's another Iron Knuckle. We'll fight it with the Master Sword, but I wanted to show how laughably easy it is when you have the Goron Sword. Coming outside, that chest will appear. They didn't have it just be here normally, because if they did, if you managed to get over there as Adult Link somehow, you could just long shot over here. So yeah. There we go, the Mirror Shield. The shield's polished surface can reflect light or energy. Press R to use it. That is our second dungeon item. Yeah, there's 2 this time. The Mirror Shield is really cool looking. It, I think, looks cooler using the actual modern Gerudo symbol. And it only has this Gerudo symbol because I am playing with this Gerudo symbol. Otherwise, it would have the one that was introduced to Majora's Mask. But either way, cool as hell shield. I really like it. It's presumably a Gerudo heirloom because it has their symbol and it was found in their temple. But yeah, it's a cool shield and it's necessary to complete the dungeon, so it's good we got it. Likes also cannot steal this one, which is another reason it's an upgrade. Likes can't steal from me anymore. The Mirror Shield can notably be used to block energy, like light and elemental attacks. Maybe, for example, I don't know if Beamos are included. Okay, at least the Beamos in here stays dead. I was gonna go to the staircase to find a Beamos, but I'm fumbling the bag horribly right now. Okay, you. I need to test something. Okay, it can't block a Beamos beam. That's sad. It would be really cool if it could, but it can reflect certain attacks, but other attacks it can't. For example, Octorok's rocks can no longer be reflected because it's made of glass and somehow the glass doesn't break. But if you're using a Hylian shield, you can still do that. So there's still reason to use the Hylian shield. Yeah. We can see the light reflecting. Next time on The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, we're going to be doing the obvious puzzle solution. See you guys then.